Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan. Introduction. In the outer reaches of our solar system, beyond the orbit of the last known planet, a tiny silent traveler was speeding away from home at 40,000 miles per hour. It was the Voyager 1 spacecraft, a marvel of human engineering, launched years earlier on a grand tour of the gas giants. Its primary mission was over. It had shown us the turbulent, swirling clouds of Jupiter and the magnificent, intricate rings of Saturn. Now, its work done, it was coasting into the eternal night of interstellar space. But in February of 1990, it received one last command from its distant masters, a message that had taken hours to travel across nearly 4 billion miles of emptiness. Obediently, the little ship turned its cameras around, not toward some new, undiscovered world, but back toward the heart of the solar system, back toward its home. It took a series of 60 pictures, a final family portrait of the planets. Then, over the next few months, it slowly beamed them back to Earth, pixel by painstaking pixel. On one of those images, among scattered beams of sunlight, was a single, tiny point of light. A speck of dust, almost lost in the vastness. That point of light was us. That was Earth. The man who fought for that photograph, who understood its profound importance, was the astronomer Carl Sagan. And the book that grew from that single, humbling image, Pale Blue Dot, has sold millions of copies and has become more than just a book about space. It's a guide to understanding our place in the universe, and a testament to the future of humanity. Sagan wasn't just a brilliant scientist who played a leading role in America's space program from its very beginning. He was a master storyteller. He had a rare gift for taking the most complex ideas in astronomy and physics and making them feel not just understandable, but deeply personal and moving. He believed that science belonged to everyone, and his life's work was to share the awe and wonder he felt every time he looked up at the sky. Today, we're going to journey through the core ideas of his masterpiece, Pale Blue Dot. This isn't just a summary, it's an invitation to see the world, and ourselves, from a completely new perspective. By the end of our time together, you will understand why that one photograph, that one pale blue dot, holds the key to our survival, our future, and our deepest identity as a species. Book summary. To truly understand the message of Pale Blue Dot, we have to start where our ancestors did, thousands of years ago, lying on their backs and staring up at the night sky. Imagine you lived then. No city lights to wash out the stars. No television, no distractions. The sky was your calendar, your clock, and your temple. Every night, you would see the same familiar procession, the stars rising in the east and setting in the west, moving together in a predictable, comforting dance. But you would also notice 5 peculiar lights that didn't follow the rules. They wandered. Over weeks and months, they would drift slowly against the backdrop of the fixed stars, sometimes even looping back on themselves. The ancient Greeks called them planetes, the wanderers. We call them planets. To our ancestors, this was all deeply personal. The sky was for us. The sun was there to give us warmth and light. The moon, to guide us in the night. And the planets? They were gods, powerful beings who governed our destinies. Jupiter, the king of the gods, Mars, the god of war, Venus, the goddess of love. And at the very center of this grand celestial theater, naturally, was us. The Earth. Everything, it seemed, revolved around our world. This idea, the geocentric model, wasn't born of arrogance, but of simple, everyday observation. The sun looks like it goes around the Earth. The stars look like they wheel overhead. It felt right. It felt comfortable. It confirmed our secret hope that we were special, that the entire universe was created with us in mind. For thousands of years, this was the unquestioned truth, taught in every school, written into every sacred text, and defended by kings and popes. The universe was our home, built just for us. But as Carl Sagan explains, the history of science has been a series of what he calls the great demotions, a sequence of humbling discoveries that have, one by one, stripped us of our privileged position in the cosmos. The first demotion was perhaps the most painful. In the 16th century, a Polish astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus proposed a radical new idea. What if the Earth was not the center? What if the Sun was? What if our world was just another one of the wanderers, a planet like Mars or Venus, circling a central star? This was a dangerous thought. It didn't just challenge astronomy, it challenged our entire sense of self-importance. If the Earth was just another planet, then what did that make us? The idea was so unsettling that for decades, it was treated as a mere mathematical trick, a convenient way to calculate the planet's positions, but not a description of reality. Then came Galileo Galilei. When he turned the first telescope to the sky, he didn't just see more stars. He saw evidence. He saw moons orbiting Jupiter, proving that not everything circled the Earth. He saw Venus going through phases like our moon, something that could only happen if it orbited the Sun. The universe, Galileo showed us, did not seem to care about our feelings. It followed its own laws. For daring to speak this truth, Galileo was threatened with torture by the Church and placed under house arrest for the rest of his life. But the truth, once uncovered, could not be put back in the box. Over the next few centuries, the evidence piled up. We discovered the aberration of light, the subtle shift in the apparent position of stars caused by the Earth's motion, a direct proof that we are, in fact, hurtling through space. We finally measured the parallax of stars, confirming they were unimaginably far away. The Earth was officially demoted. We were not the center of the universe. But, some thought, perhaps we could salvage a little of our pride. Okay, maybe the Earth isn't the center, but surely our Sun is. Our home star is the center of everything. That was the next conceit to fall. Astronomers in the 19th and 20th centuries discovered that our Sun is just one lonely star among billions in a vast, sprawling city of stars called the Milky Way galaxy. And we don't even live in a good neighborhood. We're out in the cosmic suburbs, in an obscure spiral arm, 30,000 light-years from the galactic center. Another demotion. Well, then, maybe our galaxy is the only one. Maybe the Milky Way is the entire universe. Wrong again. Through our telescopes, we began to see faint, fuzzy smudges of light. At first, we didn't know what they were. But then we realized they were other galaxies, island universes, each containing hundreds of billions of suns. Today, we know there are hundreds of billions of galaxies. For every star in the Milky Way, there is a whole other galaxy out there. Our galaxy, it turns out, is remarkable in no way. Not in size, not in shape, not in brightness. We are utterly, profoundly, average. Each of these discoveries was a blow to human pride. Each one moved us further from the center, making us smaller and seemingly less significant. And this is a central theme of Pale Blue Dot. This journey from self-importance to cosmic humility is not a loss, but a liberation. It frees us to see the universe as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. Sagan connects this intellectual journey to a much older, deeper part of our identity. He reminds us that, for 99.9% of human history, we were wanderers. We were hunters and foragers, following the herds, moving with the seasons. We were bounded only by the earth and the ocean and the sky, he writes. The frontier was everywhere. The open road was home. This deep, ancient impulse to explore, to see what's over the next hill, is written into our DNA. It's what drove our ancestors out of Africa to populate every corner of this planet. It's what drove Polynesian navigators across the vast Pacific in open canoes, and what sent European explorers across the Atlantic. And now, Sagan argues, that same impulse is calling us to a new ocean, the ocean of space. The planets, those wandering lights our ancestors watched with awe, are no longer just gods in the sky. They are worlds. They are destinations. This is where the book takes a turn, from the history of our understanding to the story of our first steps into this new ocean. It is the story of the Voyager spacecraft. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 were, as Sagan puts it, the ships that opened the solar system for the human species. They were robotic emissaries, our eyes and ears sent out to explore the great unknown. They were designed to last only until Saturn, but through the ingenuity of the engineers back on Earth, their journey continued, becoming the grandest tour of exploration in human history. First, they flew past Jupiter. We had seen Jupiter through telescopes for centuries, a striped ball with a mysterious great red spot. But Voyager showed us a world of unimaginable violence and beauty. The great red spot was revealed to be a colossal, hurricane-like storm, a storm so vast that 3 Earths could fit inside it. The planet's atmosphere was a turbulent sea of colorful clouds, churning and boiling with lightning bolts larger than any on Earth. And Jupiter's moons were not the simple points of light Galileo saw. They were unique worlds in their own right. On Io, Voyager discovered active volcanoes, not spewing molten rock, but sulfur, painting the surface in grotesque shades of yellow, orange, and black. It was the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system. On Europa, we saw a smooth, icy surface crisscrossed by dark lines, hinting at a vast, hidden ocean of liquid water beneath the ice, an ocean that might, just might, harbor life. After Jupiter, Voyager used the giant planet's gravity as a slingshot, hurtling onward to Saturn. Here, the true wonder was the rings. What looked like a few simple bands from Earth were revealed to be thousands upon thousands of intricate, shimmering ringlets, composed of countless tiny snowballs of ice, each in its own perfect orbit. The rings were a spectacle of gravitational harmony, a dance of ice and light on a scale that boggled the mind. And Saturn's great moon, Titan, presented a tantalizing mystery. It was a world larger than the planet Mercury, shrouded in a thick, orange haze. Its atmosphere, we discovered, was rich in nitrogen and methane, and complex organic molecules, the very building blocks of life, were raining down from its sky. Sagan describes Titan as a kind of prebiotic Earth, preserved in a deep freeze. It's a laboratory for studying the chemical steps that, 4 billion years ago on our own world, led to the origin of life. The Voyager mission was only guaranteed to work until Saturn. But the engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory were brilliant. As Sagan charmingly puts it, they got smarter faster than the spacecraft got stupid. And so, Voyager 2 was sent on a trajectory that would take it to worlds no human-made object had ever seen up close. In 1986, it arrived at Uranus. This strange, aquamarine planet spins on its side, as if it were knocked over by a cosmic collision long ago. Voyager discovered new rings, black as charcoal, and a collection of bizarre moons. The most stunning was Miranda, a tiny moon whose surface looked like it had been shattered and then carelessly glued back together, a chaotic jumble of cliffs, canyons, and mismatched terrain. It was a testament to the violent, chaotic history of our solar system. Then, in 1989, Voyager 2 reached the last giant planet, Neptune. From this distance, the Sun is just a very bright star, and the cold is unimaginable. We expected a quiet, featureless world. Instead, Voyager showed us a vibrant blue planet, racked by winds faster than the speed of sound, and marked by a great dark spot, another giant storm system raging in the cold and darkness. Its largest moon, Triton, was even more surprising. Despite the profound cold, Voyager discovered geysers of nitrogen gas and dark dust erupting from its icy surface, blown by the whisper-thin atmosphere. The surface itself was a strange landscape of frozen nitrogen snows, tinted pink and brown by radiation, another world where the chemistry of life was at play. The Voyager missions were a triumph. They explored 4 planets, nearly 60 moons, and thousands of rings. They taught us more about the outer solar system than we had learned in all of previous human history. They showed us that our planetary neighborhood is filled with a stunning diversity of worlds, each with its own story, its own beauty, and its own lessons. And this brings us back to that single photograph. As Voyager 1 was leaving the solar system, Carl Sagan and his team had an idea. It was a sentimental one, not strictly scientific. They wanted to turn Voyager's cameras around one last time and take a picture of Earth from the edge of the solar system. Many at NASA were against it. Aiming the camera so close to the sun could damage it. It had no scientific value. Earth would be too small to see any detail. But Sagan persisted. He knew the power of perspective. He understood that seeing our world from that distance might change us. Finally, they agreed. From nearly 4 billion miles away, Earth appeared as a tiny point of light, a single pixel, suspended in a sunbeam. Sagan called it the pale blue dot. And here, the book reaches its emotional and philosophical heart. Sagan asks us to look again at that dot. That's here, he writes. That's home. That's us. On that tiny speck, everyone you have ever loved, everyone you have ever known, everyone you have ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. Every joy and suffering, every king and peasant, every saint and sinner, every creator and destroyer of civilization, lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. From this vantage point, our planet is a lonely speck in the great, enveloping cosmic dark. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that, in glory and triumph, they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. This perspective, Sagan argues, is the ultimate gift of our journey into space. It is a lesson in humility. It underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another, and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. But the journey doesn't end with this realization. In fact, it's just the beginning. The second half of Pale Blue Dot is about our future. Now that we understand our true circumstances, what do we do next? One question that naturally arises is, are we alone? If our solar system is just one among billions, if planets are common, could there be other pale blue dots out there? Sagan takes us on another fascinating thought experiment. He describes how, in 1990, the Galileo spacecraft, on its way to Jupiter, flew by Earth. He and his team decided to use it as a test. If an alien spaceship flew by Earth, could it detect life here? They turned Galileo's instruments on our own planet. What did they find? They detected an atmosphere rich in oxygen, a gas so chemically reactive that it shouldn't be there unless something was constantly replenishing it. They found methane, a gas that is quickly destroyed by oxygen, which meant something was constantly producing it. They saw a strange pigment on the continents that strongly absorbed red light, chlorophyll. And they detected modulated, narrowband radio signals that could not be produced by any known natural process. The conclusion was undeniable. The Earth is teeming with life. An alien explorer, even without landing, could deduce our existence. This experiment was a calibration. It gives us confidence that if we look at other worlds and find none of these signs, then that negative result is meaningful. So far, we have found no such signs anywhere else. We have listened for cosmic radio signals with projects like SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We have found some puzzling, tantalizing signals that seem to come from the plane of the Milky Way, but nothing that repeats, nothing we can confirm. The search continues, but for now, the silence is profound. Our world, Sagan concludes, is precious. Life may be a rarity. In all our travels through the solar system, we have found wonders, but we have also found desolation. Out there, so far, there are no better places. This leads to the final, and most daring, part of Sagan's vision. If this is our only home, what are our long-term prospects? He argues that, as a species, we face two kinds of dangers. The first comes from within. Our technology, the same tool that allows us to explore the stars, has also given us the power to destroy ourselves. Nuclear war, climate change, ozone depletion, we have become a danger to our own planet. The cosmic perspective, he hopes, can help us overcome our petty tribalisms and work together to protect our world. But there is another danger, one that comes from the outside. The universe is not a peaceful, static place. It is a place of routine interplanetary violence. The solar system is filled with asteroids and comets, the leftover debris from the formation of the planets. And every now and then, their orbits cross ours. The impact of a large asteroid or comet, like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, is not a matter of if, but of when. The waiting time may be long, hundreds of thousands of years for a civilization-threatening event, but on the timescale of a species, it is inevitable. This, Sagan argues, is the ultimate justification for becoming a spacefaring species. It is not about romance or adventure, though those are part of it. It is about survival. As long as we are confined to a single planet, we are vulnerable. A single catastrophe, whether of our own making or from the cosmos, could wipe out our entire species and all its legacy. But if we have self-sustaining communities on other worlds, on the Moon, on Mars, on asteroids, then the human species is protected. The light of consciousness, once kindled, would not be so easily extinguished. This is the second missing argument for a human presence in space. It is an insurance policy for the species. Sagan envisions a future where we take our first steps toward this goal. He advocates for a joint, international mission to Mars. Not as a race, like the Apollo program, which he calls a gift for the perspective it gave us, but also a product of the deadly Cold War. This new venture should be a cooperative effort, a project for all humanity. The same technology that propels weapons of mass destruction, he points out, can send us to another planet. It is a choice of mythic power, to embrace the planet named for the god of war not for madness, but for a new beginning. From there, he paints a picture of our long-term future, a future that may seem like science fiction, but which he argues is a natural continuation of our nomadic past. He talks about terraforming Mars, engineering its environment to make it more Earth-like, thickening its atmosphere, warming its surface, until liquid water can flow on its surface once again. He imagines our descendants living in domed cities, and eventually, perhaps, walking under a blue Martian sky. From there, we might move to the asteroid belt, hollowing out small worlds and turning them into habitats, starships for a slow migration to the outer solar system. And then, in the truly distant future, generations from now, we might venture to the stars. The vast distances are a kind of quarantine, he suggests. Only those civilizations mature enough to survive their technological adolescence and to cooperate on a grand scale will ever make the journey. This is the ultimate destiny of the wanderers. to tiptoe through the Milky Way, carrying the legacy of our small, fragile world with us. For all our failings, Sagan concludes, we humans are capable of greatness. Our evolutionary lineage is marked by a mastery of change. We have gone from microbes to apes to beings who can puzzle out the laws of the universe and venture into the sky. The journey will be long and difficult. But the vision of Pale Blue Dot is one of profound hope. It is a call to awaken to our circumstances, to see the beauty and fragility of our world, and to embrace our future as citizens of the cosmos. We are, he reminds us, the children of the stars. And it is time to go home. Commentary. As we come to the end of our journey through Pale Blue Dot, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on why this book, written decades ago, feels more relevant today than ever. In a world that often feels fractured, divided, and overwhelmed by its problems, Carl Sagan's voice is a powerful antidote. It is a voice of reason, of wonder, and of unshakable optimism in the human spirit. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the transformative power of perspective. We spend our days caught up in our own small worlds, our jobs, our worries, our disagreements. Sagan gently takes us by the hand, leads us to the edge of the solar system, and shows us our world as it truly is, a single, tiny, fragile dot. From that vantage point, our divisions seem absurd. Our conflicts, pointless. The lines we draw on maps, invisible. All we have is each other, and this one precious home. This perspective doesn't diminish us, it unites us. It gives us a common identity as Earthlings, and a common cause, to protect our home and each other. This isn't just a feel-good sentiment. Sagan shows how this cosmic perspective is intensely practical. The exploration of other worlds, which might seem like a luxury, has given us critical tools to understand and protect our own. Our understanding of the runaway greenhouse effect on Venus is a terrifying cautionary tale for our own climate. The ozone-less, sterilized surface of Mars warns us of the dangers of damaging our own atmospheric shield. Studying other worlds isn't an escape from our problems, it's a vital part of finding the solutions. But the book's deepest message is about our future. Sagan presents two paths. One is to remain earthbound, vulnerable to the dangers we create for ourselves and the dangers the universe will inevitably throw at us. The other is to embrace our ancient, wandering heritage and become a multi-planet species. This is not a call for conquest, but for survival. It is a long-term vision, something that will require generations of cooperation, wisdom, and courage. But it is a hopeful vision. It gives us a grand, noble project to work toward, something worthy of our species. It suggests that our best days are not behind us, but are yet to come, out there, among the stars. So, how can we apply the wisdom of Pale Blue Dot in our own lives, starting today? First, and simplest, look up. On the next clear night, go outside, away from the city lights if you can, and just spend a few minutes looking at the stars. Remember that each one is a sun, perhaps with its own family of worlds. Feel the scale, the immensity of it all. Let it give you a dose of that cosmic perspective. It's a powerful way to reset your priorities and remember what's truly important. Second, embrace curiosity. Sagan's life was a testament to the power of asking questions. Learn about the latest discoveries from the James Webb Space Telescope. Follow the missions exploring Mars and the outer planets. Science is not some dry, dusty subject for a classroom. It is the story of our species' greatest adventure. By staying curious, you become a part of that adventure. And finally, practice kindness. This is the core ethical lesson of the Pale Blue Dot. If we are all stuck together on this tiny world, then compassion and cooperation are not just virtues, they are survival skills. The next time you find yourself in a conflict, big or small, Try to picture that dot. Remember that we are all, in the end, on the same team. That was our exploration of Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan. We've touched on the major themes today, but I have to be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is in the journey itself. The true magic of this book is in Sagan's beautiful prose, in the quiet moments when one of his profound insights connects with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is designed to give you a taste of that journey. If anything we've talked about today has sparked your curiosity or touched your heart, I urge you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning facts, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself, your world, and your future. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to continue exploring the world's most impactful books, please take a moment to click that subscribe button. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning, and keep wandering, together.